G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's stories. Now sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user ThrowRA Broken Wife, titled, My 41 female, husband 52 male, has a second family on the side. I've been sitting with this information for almost 2 weeks now, and I still don't know how to proceed. My husband has been in what seems like a committed relationship with another woman, and he's playing happy families with her and her 3 sons. They're even planning on having a baby. A week ago, I stumbled on a TikTok account of this lady sharing her recipes, and in the background, I recognized my husband's back. I wasn't too sure at first, but after taking a real good look, and as his wife, I know that fool's neck, back, legs, and the clothing he was wearing, I went looking through her posted videos just to piece together confirmation of it really being my husband, and I continued to keep an eye on him and his movements, but he seemed normal. It's clear to me now that he has cheating down to a science. Every time he went on his work trips, she'd post these videos saying she's cooking a new recipe because her man is coming back from his work trip. She'd plate the food up, and I'd recognized his grubby hands by their look and the way that he'd hold the cutlery. He has a peculiar way of holding it, kind of looks like a Neanderthal discovering forks and knives. I can't believe this bastard has been with her for 3 years. I don't know how he found the time to start an entire relationship on the side. I thought we were happy. He tells me he loves me all the time, always brings me a gift from his work trips. When he's home, we have a great sex life, and pretty much have sex 4 to 6 times a week. We talk all the time. We've been married for 21 years, and we have 2 daughters. We lost our eldest son 10 years ago, but we worked through it and got closer than ever before. We're even due to have our 22nd anniversary, and it's his turn to plan it. We alternate who plans the anniversary each year. I know he's been planning an elaborate party for us, so why is he cheating? I am so angry and don't know what steps to take. I am utterly distraught. I thought we were happy. I thought he loved our little life. I feel like I can't think, and I barely know where to start. I can barely focus. What do I do, and how do I do it? I love coming on here and reading things and giving advice, but now that it's me, I feel like I can't think. I nearly burned my kitchen down because I literally spaced out and forgot that I was cooking. In the comments, Crystal Queen 3000 says, collect all the evidence, all of the videos, and a timeline of all his work trips. Contact a divorce lawyer and hit him up with divorce papers. I'm normally of the approach that splits should be as amicable as possible, but this effer has a whole second family. Be the definition of a woman scorned. OP replies, I've been downloading all her TikToks and screenshot everything she has posted on her Instagram. I've also been collecting all our bank statements, but I can't find anything incriminating. At this point, I'm thinking he has a secondary bank account I don't know of, and he's probably having the post delivered at his office or at his mistress's house. I'm actually considering hiring a private investigator to do a deep dive, since I can't find any other evidence of his cheating. Single Vacation 427 replies, do a credit check for free on him. You might find info on his other accounts or credit cards. A personal investigator could be helpful, but you need to consult with a lawyer first, and they might have a personal investigator. If you are spending money on a PI, you need to do it because you'll get more money or something in the divorce. Don't waste a lot of money on a PI just because you want to know. And you'll need a PI with a license so the information can be used in a divorce proceeding. Miss Stiff 1971 asks, how is he funding her? OP replies, my husband makes great money. We are financially well off. He owns his own business, of which I am heavily invested in since its creation, and the past few years he has been establishing a new office in a city not too far from where his mistress lives. I guess that's how he met her. You're going to want to hire a forensic accountant. Definitely talk to your attorney about that. Don't let him know that you're onto him. And be careful with the TikTok. She'll be getting notifications if one account suddenly is viewing all of her videos. So if your account shows your name, number, image, you'll want to fix that ASAP. OP replies, I don't post anything and I don't follow her. I also have a random name, nothing to do with my actual name or interests on there, but it's registered to my phone number. So does that mean that she's seen me go through her videos? Jaden B44 says, That's why she popped up on your feed, because the algorithm picked up that you each have a common person in your phone contacts. I bet if you look through her follows, you'll find an account for your husband. But don't do that until you create another account using a Google phone number. Update. Firstly, thank you all for your kindness and for all the great advice you've given me. I am truly grateful. The past couple of weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions. I've been able to engage the services of a great divorce lawyer, and I was advised to not let my husband know that I knew of his affair. I was then finally given the go-ahead a few days ago. And well, at first, he refused to admit to anything, but I was prepared for that, and I showed him all the online posts that his mistress made. I also showed him the pictures taken by my investigator. He still denied it, then accused me of being insane. Then after hours of me throwing evidence after evidence at him, he finally admitted to the affair. He tried to twist things so that he could weasel and lie his way out of it, but I was relentless. I did not let him twist reality and make me doubt the plain truth. We argued all day and all night. It was exhausting. The next morning, he tried to get on my good side because I woke up to him having made breakfast, and he was begging me not to hate him and to find it in my heart to forgive. I told him that I could not and that I wanted a divorce. That brought on the waterworks, and he called me a heartless and unforgiving bear. Then he left to take his things to his parents' house as I'd asked him to leave. While he was at his parents', I went to his mistress's home. My sister went with me. She waited in the car, and, well, she let me in and we talked. She wasn't even surprised I was there. I had already suspected that she was aware of him being a married man, but I still gave her the benefit of the doubt. She was actually gloating when she told me about how in love he is with her, how good he is with her boys, and how he bought her the house, the car, and all the other money that he spent on her. She then told me if I wasn't such a lazy bee and a gold digger, that he wouldn't have been so easily taken, and how my lack of submission and servitude was the reason that he cheated. How I'm a lazy bee when I'm the primary parent and homemaker is beyond me, and how I'm a gold digger I don't understand, as I work and earn more than him. As she was flapping her gums, he arrived and he was pissed off at her. He was calling me a ton, and I had texted him that I was at the mistress's house. They argued as he told her not to speak to me like that, and he, in no uncertain terms, told her that he wants to be with me, that she's ruining his chance at saving his marriage. I just thanked her for being forthcoming and continued to laugh my way out of the house, because yes, my husband makes great money, but as his business partner, I earn half of the business, and as his wife, I earn half of all his other assets. So I'm glad that she gloated and that she confirmed that he paid for most of what she has. Now I know for certain that he nor she deserves an ounce of my sympathy, and I will take back everything that he ever gave her, and much more. In the comments, Wolverine number 8799 says, I hope that your divorce attorney has a field day with him. The day his affair partner gets booted out of the house that he bought her will be a great day. Enjoy taking back what is rightfully yours. OP replies, Oh, I certainly look forward to taking possession of the house and clawing back every penny spent on her. The irony of her calling you a gold digger while living in a house that he bought, with the car he bought, bragging about all that he bought her? The damn irony. Take it, OP, take it all, then ask her who was digging gold again exactly? Couldn't have taken any gold from her if she hadn't gone digging to begin with. Hire a forensic accountant ASAP. OP says, Oh, I did that because I'm certain he used company finances to live extra lavishly. Are there any charges you can bring for using finances? At this point, I'd be looking to hiring new accountants and an attorney looking into fraud and embezzlement. Your husband is a sociopath. You should be extremely careful. You may be in more danger than you think. If I were you, I would stay with family where you know you will be safe. Who knows what that guy is capable of? I'm surprised I had to scroll so far down to see this. A desperate man can do desperate things. Protect yourself physically, OP. I was thinking the same thing. Actually, at this point, the more people that know, I would think she's safer. It's usually after the wife finds out and plans to divorce, but before the rest of the world knows. That's the most dangerous time. Please get officially separated ASAP so he does not benefit from your death. Yeah, that's pretty much all we have. That story was a few years ago. OP has not really said anything in that time, and I hope that OP is not dead because that would be a grim way to end this story. For my own peace of mind, I'm going to assume that all went well, that the house was taken away from the affair partner and the husband, and they had the day that they deserve. But yeah, really, what a way to blow up your life, huh? Being found out through TikTok of all things. These people never cease to amaze me, that's for sure. Our next post is by user Paternity Throwaway 13, titled, "Can my parents force a paternity test?" So my wife was SA'd. She got pregnant, and the baby could be mine or the assaulter's. We decided to keep the baby and raise it as mine. We never want to have a paternity test done on the baby because this could be devastating to her relationship with my wife. I'm a massive moron, and after my daughter was born, I let slip to my parents that she might not be mine biologically. I tried to backtrack, but my parents kept pushing and pushing until my wife sat them down and explained the situation. They do not believe her. They think she cheated and that she is using me. Now my parents have approached me about taking a paternity test. They want me to contest paternity and to leave my wife. I do not want to. I made a commitment to my wife and daughter, and I stand by it. I trust my wife, but my parents don't. They told me that if I refuse, they will go to court and compel me to do a paternity test to absolve me of responsibility for the baby. They want me to leave my wife regardless. I'm planning to cut contact with my parents over this, but is there any way that they can legitimately force me to do a paternity test? Is there something that I can do to prevent this or fight them? We are located in Rhode Island. In the comments, Fawning and Conning says, "Your parents have no standing or say in this matter and cannot compel you to do a paternity test." Also, Opie might not want them to have access to his kid and maybe block all contact with his parents. But they could take a swab from the child on the sly and test whether they're genetically related to him or her, which would have the same result for the wife's relationship with the child in the end. That sounds illegal. Are you allowed to run genetic testing on a child without their consent or that of their parents? Well, why wouldn't it be exactly? I could run a genetic test on you if I had a hair from your desk. Brolta says, "They cannot compel a paternity test. It's probably wise to deny them any access to your daughter. They might try to swab her and have a test done. They wouldn't necessarily need a sample from you. They could test to see if she was genetically related to themselves. They probably wouldn't be able to take any legal action with the results, but it still seems like something that you would prefer to prevent." Edited to add, "You should be aware that if your daughter is not biologically related to you, she will likely discover it someday. With lots of genetic testing opportunities now available, it's not as possible as it once was to keep genetic consanguinity skeletons in the closet. If she is a baby now, it will be many years before this is likely to be an issue, and it won't change your legal paternity, but as she approaches adulthood, you and your wife should decide if you'd rather discuss it with your daughter or risk her finding out another way." OP replies, "This is scary. We will keep this in mind." Any lawyer that took that case would deserve a bar complaint. If the court even accepted it, you'd just hire a lawyer to request summary judgment that your parents get told to F off. The judge would tell your parents to F off, and that would be that. Update. I'd like to take a minute to say thank you to everyone who responded to my last post. Your advice helped prepare me for what came next. Pretty soon after I posted, I received a letter in the mail from a lawyer that basically said that my parents were demanding a paternity test on the basis of grandparents' rights. I knew from my post that it was unlikely that a lawyer would take this case, so I googled the law firm and the lawyer's name. I couldn't find the lawyer's name anywhere, but the law firm was real, so I reached out to them. The letter was fake and the law firm was not happy. They asked for the letter and are pursuing some sort of legal action against my parents. I don't know exactly what's happening as I've not been in contact with my parents in a while. In other news, my daughter was recently diagnosed with a very minor skin condition that is fairly uncommon and that I also have, which means she's most likely mine after all. We still won't do a paternity test anytime soon, but it was helpful for our peace of mind. Thanks again for the advice, everyone. In the comments, Stink Snake says, I keep seeing grandparents' rights come up here, so I looked it up in my state and found this gem of advice. Quote, the easiest way to visit with your grandchild is to establish or maintain positive relations with the child's parents. Grandparents' rights typically exist to maintain an ongoing relationship in the event a parent dies or is incarcerated. Key here is ongoing. As you said, if there is little history of visiting or a pre-existing relationship, a court won't normally step in to create one. Courts in the USA and Canada, at least, typically presume the parents act in the best interests of their child. If mum and dad keep kiddo away from grandma and grandpa, many courts won't impose that relationship. Too often, narcissistic or abusive grandparents act like the law is a further extension of their will to scare or force their adult children into compliance. Yup, my mother not so subtly hinted that she was sending our correspondence to her lawyer when I refused her access to my daughter. I, of course, freaked out, but was reassured by a family law attorney that this isn't what grandparents' rights are for, and that she'd have a hell of an uphill battle that would likely just end in a fat bill. Mine threatened me with it, including roping my ex-husband into it. Went nowhere. That legal letter backfiring on them is a pretty sweet screw around and find out situation. And to think, if they had just waited an extra week after they put their harebrained scheme into action, they would have gotten the answer without losing access to their son's whole family. Hey, granddaughter had the same hereditary condition that son has. She's his after all. We can let her back in the house. You know, if we ever get it back from that law firm that sued us. Move on over. You're getting my side of the tent all cold. I guess my take on this would have been that, yes, OP potentially would have told them that, hey, no need to worry because they are actually mine genetically. But at that point, even before the fake letter was sent out to OP, I'd imagine that they're just no contact with these people because they're such insane assholes. Like, from the get-go, those two made it clear that even if she wasn't cheating, and even if the story is true, we want you to break up with her. These people are not reasonable. You'd just be out of the frying pan and into the fire, and I don't think any good would come out of the situation. No one would be happy. So yeah, I just think it's for the best that they shot themselves in the foot here, and that OP and their partner have a reason to just get away from them and disconnect entirely. Unexposed is by user Toast and Crumb, titled, Am I the asshole for cancelling my brother's wedding? To make a novel short, my, female 27, brother, male 30, met his future wife, female 28, Ella, at a party 3 years ago. Honestly, we never got along, but I always tried to put on a peaceful front because my brother seemed blissfully happy with her. Ella was mean to me a lot, like a lot. She would make comments about my weight, my makeup, and especially my dog. She hated animals and hated that I would bring my lab, Toast, to my parents' or my brother's house. It always just felt like something aimed to hurt me. When the two got engaged, she asked me to be her maid of honor since she has no sisters or many girlfriends, and since my brother seemed thrilled, I obliged. What I failed to realize when I accepted the role was that her maid of honor meant planning the entire wedding. Like, I was booking venues, florists, jazz band, everything. Even worse, she expected me to put my credit card down for all of it. My brother and her are not exactly well off, and since I have a well-paying job, I didn't mind holding the deposits, but it was starting to add up to a lot. Every time I asked Ella about it, she would say that it would all be paid back by her parents before the wedding. Well, flash forward to last week, about 3 weeks before the wedding, and she's unbearable to be around. She can't last more than a few sentences before snapping at anyone. So, when I of course brought up the money, shit hit the fan. I asked if she had received the updated receipt of everything owed when she exploded. She called me a whole line of terrible names, but the one that stuck out was her saying, "What do you need the money for anyway? Your sick dog is dead now." My beautiful Toasty died about a month before this after he fought the bravest battle with cancer. He was my soul dog, and I was devastated. I blinked at her and simply left the room, having no energy to even respond to something so cruel. I went back to my car, and after the 20 silent-minute drive home, I parked the car and immediately called the vendors and cancelled any deposit under my card. Every single one. After almost 20 calls, all that was left of her wedding was the dress and the flower arch. I texted my brother a short explanation. I told him that every vendor would be contacting him if they wished to keep their services, and they were now responsible for covering everything, and that I would no longer be attending. It was a matter of minutes before my phone started to explode, and I just turned it off. It's been a few days, and I haven't talked to anyone but my mum, who thankfully understands where I was coming from. My brother has tried to call, but I just feel terrible, both about what I did and about what she said. I know what I did was extreme, but I also couldn't sit by and practically enable her cruelty anymore. I still can't help but feel bad for ruining my brother's big day. So I don't know. Am I the asshole for this? I just think not the asshole because, Jesus Christ, what an absolute mess. Also, excuse me, but where was the brother this entire time? Why was he not bridging the gap between you and his soon-to-be family-in-law? He's not a victim in this debacle from my point of view. It seems as though he was complacent and allowing it to continue. I would be chewing him out, and I would personally get on the phone and chew his demon for a goddamn partner out. Jesus Christ. She's a nasty piece of work, isn't she? You yourself, OP, have gone above and beyond in this situation. I don't see how your actions would make you an arsehole. I think they more than deserve what you've done to them. My judgment is that you're not an arsehole in this situation. In the comments, Logical Allies says, not the arsehole. They were never going to pay you back. It's a good thing she showed how wicked she was before you got stuck with the bill. I'm sorry about your loss. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about what you did. They shouldn't be getting married if they don't have the money. If her parents were going to pay, they can put their card down for deposits. When you give family money, don't ever expect to get it back. I just hope the brother is good and dumps the fiancé. Otherwise, he's not that good of a person. Now, OP, since you probably aren't going to the wedding, that block of time is still freed up. Why don't you take a day or two and go someplace special, someplace nice, just for you? You deserve it, not just to make up for the way the bride treated you, but because of the loss of your dog, not the asshole. That's a fantastic idea. With the deposit money she gets back, OP could go to a nice resort or treat herself to a spa day. I don't think I'd like to leave my house or vehicle unattended during that time, unless you have roommates to keep an eye on things. That's just me, having some experience with the vindictiveness of mean people. She was going to take you for all that money and was just using you. Your brother was allowing it. The comment about your dog was incredibly crappy. I'm sorry about your loss, not the asshole. Nah, brother is too Twitter-pated to tell the evil queen from Snow White. Not the asshole, not even a little bit. First, a maid of honor's duties do not include planning the whole wedding, and they certainly do not put down all the deposits and pay for the wedding. If you ask me, it sounds 100% like they were going to stiff you for the wedding. I don't believe for a minute her parents were paying for it. She was using you, and I can't believe your brother can't see the kind of person she is. And I tell you what, screwing with the memory of my dog? Well, those are fighting words. I guess she effed around and found out. Yes, in my experience as a best man, there is a lot of logistical work to be done. But this was to take the load off the couple so they can focus on being hosts and getting married. For example, making sure the musician got a tip paid by the groom before he headed off for the night, not hiring and paying him. Update. First thing asked, me paying. Ella was promised a hefty wedding budget when she was younger. Between those years and the pandemic, they had to dip into that wedding fund. In the end, Ella only got a third of what she was promised. She insisted that most of what she had to go to the dress, but she would drone on about how there were so many things the wedding wouldn't have and how it wouldn't be the wedding of her dreams. It was only like a week after that my brother came up and asked if I could cover a few of the costs of the wedding while Ella's parents made up the rest to pay it back. I do make a considerable amount more, and since this would be my brother's wedding too, I agreed. Stupid, I know. Second most discussed, Ella's treatment of me. Truthfully, she played the nice and loving girlfriend well to most, especially to my brother. Even I thought she turned a new leaf a few times, but it would never last. Some of the comments she made wouldn't be always outwardly mean enough for a passerby to pick up, aka my brother. along the lines of, "Oh, are you sure you want to go out in that? Something looser might be more comfortable." Or, "I would loan you a shirt, but I don't want it to stretch out." Mean girl comments, simply put. She lost many friends over her crazy notion of them being jealous of her, even accusing them of being in love with my brother. She had 2 other bridesmaids in the wedding, but they were barely close at all. Someone said it in the comments, being stuck between Snow White and not being able to see the evil queen within. That's the best way to describe her. She's beautiful, but something is rotting inside. And maybe the most asked, did they stay together? I caved and finally answered my brother last night. From what he said, they are on a break. My brother had picked up on a few instances of her acting questionably, but hoped that it was wedding stress. He was fuming when he found out what she said. I do know she no longer has the ring. My brother and I's relationship is definitely going to need some repair, but I think after a long communication break and setting up better boundaries for partners and respect to siblings in the future, we should be okay. Also, yes, I did lose some money. Just as predicted. She hoped that I would end up gifting the payments anyway. Ella had told my brother that she was waiting for a surprise check from her grandparents to completely pay it off. The check didn't exist. Thankfully, the no longer to be in-laws have agreed to sell the dress to pay me back for what I did lose, instead of legal action. Lastly, to my boy Toast. All of your sweet comments made me cry for an embarrassing amount of time. I hope I made him proud. There will never be a day that I don't defend that dog with everything that I have. He is being lovingly remembered by his family and his little brother, Crumb. In the comments, ShotSpirit672 says, "So many times I hear stories about someone being treated like absolute shit for no good reason. Usually those stories end with a person just taking it from their abuser and serving no justice. You're a badass though, and reading how you handled the situation was satisfying AF. The world needs more people like you." Just a tip for the future and for any occurrence, if lending money to someone, always do a money transfer with the bank and add "loan for X person for Y thing" in the reason field. Never send money to a third party. No backtracking claiming that it was a gift, and at least in Italy, it has the same guarantee as if it was made by a bank, so you can have your money back easily. And demanding foreclosure on bank accounts, car, house, etc. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys for today. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.